magicians, welcome to another Money Magic podcast interview. So my guest today is Tshepang Ramoba, but if you have just joined us, my name is Vangile and I am your host for the show. I help mainly women of color heal ancestral money trauma. So today we're interviewing Tshepang and we're going to be talking about my work. He is also our podcast editor. So if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, on iTunes, on Apple, people actually often ask me what sound devices do I use, or they think that I have a studio. No, Tshepang does magic with the sound. If you're listening on YouTube, because he hasn't altered the sound at all, you can tell the big difference because we don't really edit much on YouTube for sound. But if you listen on the actual podcasts on Apple, Spotify, all the other podcast places, you'll hear that our sound is really good. And most of the time, just incredible, and that is not great podcast equipment is Tshepang. So he's also been client of mine. So I thought, let's interview him, let's get to know him and also talk about his journey. So welcome, Tshepang. I've been wanting to interview you so that more people can also get to know you about your podcasting skills, because you've done wonders for us.
No, thank you for having me. My name is Tshepang Ramoba. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that you also edit our Property Magicians podcast, so which is one of the top 10 podcasts in Southern Africa. I don't know if you knew that in investment.
I don't know. I didn't know. Amazing.
From far, Tshepang. We haven't recorded the Property Magicians podcast in a while, but Tshepang started with us from the beginning, guys, just like he started with me with Money Magic from the beginning. So thank you for saying it.
All right, no, cool. It's my pleasure, and thank you.
Yeah. So Tshepang, what do you do for a living? And how would you define your soul? Like, who are you as a soul and what do you do for a living?
Okay. I really feel like not feel like I know I've been searching for myself for a long time. So I know that I am sent. I was sent to this world to heal, basically, to just heal. That's my sole purpose, is to heal people. So, when you help people, when you help people with anything, I feel like that's healing, So I think I was sent. And in my language, a person that was sent is called Morongwa. So, Morongwa. And what I do for a living, well, I heal through music a lot. I heal through the arts. That's what I do. And then for a living, officially, I always tell people that they always forget that I am a drummer. So that's that's what I do. And drums are a big part of healing in the African culture. So my main thing is drums. I went to school and I studied music and I do drums. And then, so what do I do for a living? I am a musician. I'm an artist. I have a company called Post, and we do music for podcasts, for adverts, for films, for other artists. And we also do projects, festivals, some events. And basically that's it. That's what I do. I'm a producer too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you also produce music. You work with some really dope artists, apart from being a dope artist yourself, right? So yeah. So Tshepang, can you share a little about yourself and what led you to become interested in financial transformation?
So, when you were young, I didn't really have, nobody had taught me about anything about money. And I guess my grandfather would have been the perfect person to teach me about money or to teach me about anything, because he has a lot of property. He owns a lot of properties, and I only found out when I'm old that he has a lot of properties, and he generated a lot of money for his family. He has multiple wives, and he has more than 50 children. So obviously he had to make that money. So now, because now my mother, I grew up my mother telling us these stories that she grew up fine. They started driving when they were young, and in the village they are driving and they are girls, and people thought that's like crazy, because these young girls and nobody's in the village is driving, a woman is driving. So so I guess she didn't learn, and she was just spoiled financially. And when she was working and had to take care of me, I saw that the way she used money was just like, I just want to have fun. I think she was just used to having fun because of her parents, right? Like she would take all her money and take us to Cape Town, or we used to do a lot of holidays, and when she doesn't have money, she doesn't have it. So she once told me that, I once asked her when I was young, I was like, why do we use the money so hectically, and then when it's not there, it's not there. So maybe we should. She's like, if you do that, you're never gonna have fun. So, and yeah, and then so like when she has money, she makes sure that something big happens. Like, I mean, she's still like that. I mean, she called me today and said she's booking whatever in Dalstroom, and she was gonna pay for it so that we can go there. And last week I fetched her at Misty Hills. She spent the night there. So she's still like that. So now when I saw that, and when I started making money, there's a time when I used to make money. I used to perform every day. So when you perform every day, you make money, and most of the venues we were performing at, they were giving us cash every day because it comes from the door. So during the week, we'd perform at small clubs like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, leading up to a festival in that city that we are going to. So we do a lot of the United States. So United States has like circuits, and those circuits lead up to all the festivals. So perform, like for instance, we'll perform in New York and on Monday, and go to upstate New York Tuesday, do a couple of places in upstate New York, leading up to Boston, a festival in Boston on the weekend. And then from Boston, we go to the next city, but leading up to that, we'd go. So we'd perform every day and just make money, cash money. So they'd give us cash money. And because we on the road, we don't really have time to spend that money, right? Because on the road, you have everything. You have you have alcohol, you have food, you have everything. You have a per diem. So you can even save your per diem, because the venue you're going to is giving you lunch and supper, because you go there you go there for sound check, right? So when you do sound check, they give you lunch. And then when you come back for the gig, you get supper. But now the hotel you stay at, they give you breakfast in the morning, right? So what do you do with the money? You don't do anything, because you also have sponsorship for clothes. Everywhere you go, you just get clothes for free. You get food for free, you get clothes for free, you get booze for free. You just get everything for free, but you still get paid, right? So what do you do? So it became a thing where when you have this much money, it's a lump sum now, it's building up. you can see it, especially if it's not in the bank. You can actually
Yeah.
see it's visual, it's physical. And then you're like, oh my God, I have so much money. It's a free day today. Let me go, let me go to the bar. You get to the bar, you want, you don't even know what you want, but you know what you drink. So you're like, okay, give me something that I've never had. Like, okay, let me just have the 21-year-old whiskey there. Let's see how what happens there. And then, then you spend it and then you just start like that. And then when you start, you like start seeing other people, you start meeting other musicians. And when we young, unfortunately, I was young, I met a lot of huge musicians, and I don't think I had an idea how big that was, because I used to hang out with, the guys from the Roots, your Eric Kabadus, your Pastor Rhymes, and when you meet them, they whatever they are doing, you want to do as well. But it's like they've been working at it. They've been musicians forever, and they have millions and millions of money, and I have money at that moment, I know, but you start learning things from other musicians, that the things that they do, which is drugs is part of that as well, especially I was in the rock scene, so obviously I was a rock star. I was considered a rock star because I'm a drummer for a rock band. So now, so now you have this money, and then when you go home, it's like you have all these magazines writing about you. So in the cool world, like, you are very cool. So you are home, you have this money, and then what do you do home? Because there's not really anything to do. You get here and you go to bars, you go to clubs, because at home they're waiting for this rock star to come. And then you get there, and then you splurge, and then because most of the people that don't have the same amount of money you have, so you spend on them because they don't have it. So if they go into like a small tavern, you're like, nah, guys, let's go to Latinova, let's go there and I'll buy you drinks. And then you get there, you buy a 24 of beer in the club instead of, buying it at the bottle store. And then life is nice, and there are ladies, and, when there are ladies and you're a rock star, the ladies are ready to go because, like, you this rock star guy, and you have the money to buy all these drinks. And so, and my other mistake was also staying in hotels. I used to love hotels because I'm already used to hotels, because I travel a lot and I'm used to hotels. So I book into like all these hotels, and I used to love hotels in town because I had spent a lot of time in New York. So I liked the city life, the city thing. So I used to book into hotels here in town and in the city, and until I found the hotel in Mabone. So so I used to quite spend a lot of money on entertainment. I think that's the only place I actually spent my money on entertainment and vintage cars. So I I didn't even buy a lot of equipment, actually, to tell you the truth. I had a lot of equipment because, remember, I have sponsorship. When you're a musician and a good one, you have sponsorship. So I used to just spend my money on entertainment. And I realized that, I actually learned this from my mother. The only thing that I don't do that my mother does is buy clothes. My mother loves expensive clothes till today, So I was fortunate enough that I have extra money to be going around, because, I used to tell friends that, hey, guys, there's a nice fish place in Cape Town. Let's go there now for lunch, and, catch a flight and go there real quick and come back come back from the place. And And then one day, when I met a lady, Honey, who's your sister, and I mean, I didn't talk about everything because I mean, obviously, I can't just talk about the life, the things that I used to do, as a rock star and all that. But yeah, because I'm used to traveling, I traveled a lot, so that's how I used the money a lot. And when I met Hani, she had introduced me to you, and I knew that you were doing all these things. So also, what scared Hani as my partner at that time is that when we needed bank statements for something, like she would see that, she would ask herself, what happens to the money, all these money, yeah. Actually, also my mother, like when at that time my mother was trying to buy a car, and she was using my bank statements, and she was also like, Tshepang, last month you had 200,000, now you don't have it. What did you buy? What did you buy? Like, I mean, and I don't know. And then that's when a lot of things started happening because the money was like running out, and I had also saved a lot of money in the blackjacks. My band is blackjacks, so just so that everybody knows. Yeah. So I had saved so much money for blackjacks. So every time we get paid in the bank, I would save 20% of the money and pay everybody because I was doing the finances. So I'd pay everybody and then keep 20% all the time. And then the mistake that we did was, when you are in emergency, when you have an emergency, you can go to the bank yourself. Because there's 4 members in the blackjack. So we had 4 withdrawal cards for each and every person for the business. Yes. So now, things happen within bands. So one member used to withdraw like in the morning $3,000 at the ATM at FNB. And then actually he used to withdraw every day from the same ATM in the morning at 7 and in the evening at 7. So that's almost like 6,000 a day. So that was also happening. So the money personally is like diminishing, and on the other side of the band, the business, which is the business, the money is also going down, and we can't stop that withdrawal without his signature, because he was also like ill, there was a drug problem, so so now we had to do a plan, as people that grew up in the hood, Kokasi, we make plans. So I just asked the banker to give us the forms, and then I'll make a plan. And then the bank manager told me that I can't lie to him at the bank. I can't say anything to him. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I won't say anything to him at the bank. And so I told our guy that, we're going to the bank, we're receiving money from overseas Forex. So before now, at FNB, when you get money from overseas, you have to sign for it. So we always had to sign for that money, So I said there's money that came through, so we need to go sign. And then when we got to the bank, he didn't ask me, so I just left it at that. And then he gave us the contract or the forms and then the documents, and then he signed the cards away. So that's how we stopped the cards. And then by that time it was already late. So the money that was left there, I took it to a guy called Bongs, who I think is also your friend. Or
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, the main thing for me was having the relationship with money, spending time with money. It's kind of how I do my meditation of my bank, spending time with my bank. So in the back in the days, I used to just see money coming in, and that's when I see it. That's when I realize or think of money when it's coming in, and then the rest I just spend it, and I don't want to look at it because when it's going out, it's for me it's a bad thing. It's going out, but I want it to go out. But now I don't want to. I don't want to look if it's how much is left. I don't want to. Do you know what I mean? So I think at first that's the main thing that it helped me with, like spending, having the relationship with money, being able
Yes.
to sit with it and being able to respect it and be, yeah, the one of the things was when you were comparing money to my girlfriend, like would you want to give your girlfriend away like that to a drug dealer? Would you want to give your girlfriend away to your drug dealer? I was like, oh hell no. So those are some of the things, and it really helped me with that because at that time I didn't really have that much income, and if you are used to a lot of income and then you don't have it anymore, it's quite hard. That transition is very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of helped me for that transition to not be hard anymore. So just sit down and relax and be like, yo, money is gonna come. I need to attract it. I need to do. I need to affirm. I need to be serious about it. I need to spend a lot of time, with the money because I wake up and I meditate. I do all these things for the money. So and that's how I check money. And until the day I was able to pick up and do get a bit of deals doing music for some ads and commercials, which helped me pick up and also helped me. A lot of money I used on equipment. Music equipment is very expensive. So I used a lot of money on equipment, which I still have today. So that investment was really amazing. And I mean, till today, I mean, I'm still like, I have kids. I still do affirmations. Well, in a certain way, I still tap like every now and then, and I still do my meditations. I look at my bank a lot, even when I don't have any money, I just look at it and be like, oh, okay, it'll come, and yeah, and yeah, I think there was the most important thing about what I just said is the transition from making so much money to be like, phew, yeah, it's gone.
I think you had us all like, whoa, we've just been listening to your entire thing.
Yeah.
Tshepang, most of us, I think we just watch like how people who are famous and make lots of money then lose it and then like go through the journey. We never get to go behind the scenes. So we're listening to your journey as a rock star. Like, because I remember when I met you, you were telling me about the first time you like appeared in magazines, the media, like how that absolutely that nobody prepares you for that. So I wanted to actually talk about that because so many of us are really not aware of like what happens when you become hyper visible. And you've talked to us about the pressure just now about now everybody knows who you are, knows that you're a rock star, and then the money is being spent, right? Because people have expectations of you. But
Yeah.
what was it like, just like coming into that from being quote unquote a struggling artist at first?
Mhm. I just want to make it clear that before all of that, we were like really, really struggling. So now,
Mm,
when your family helps you, you know, our families are all okay, but they
mm.
help you to until a certain point, you know, because we were a band in South Africa playing this strange music, and
Mm,
everybody used to say, "No, this is gonna go over people's heads. This is not it." And then we
mm,
became a rehearsing band. So you could imagine that all we did was rehearse and not know, which is one of the biggest lessons that
mm,
whatever, if you don't have, what you just keep on doing whatever you like doing
mm,
or whatever your job is, and something will happen, you know. But now we did
mm.
it for 8 years, you know, 8 years of
Oh,
being there, you know, like from being young until, you know, just rehearsing and just playing, composing, and nothing was happening. So imagine if we had stopped, you know, because we like, we give up, this thing is not happening. So we were struggling, and then we started playing competitions, and then now we don't have transport to go to the competition. And we used to walk for hours to go to the internet cafe because we were on MySpace like really early. We did social media really, really early. And
mm,
we were on MySpace, so we had to go and update the MySpace thing. We used to walk for hours, you know. And then until we met, there's a guy in Leondale that opened a internet cafe, and we were in Sprayview, so it was at least this time an hour and a half away. So we'd walk for an hour and a half to go there to check emails and blah blah. And then one day we got a request from a guy called Diplo. I don't know if you know Diplo. I don't know if people know Diplo, but yeah, Diplo is the guy that produced Run the World, Beyonce. So now,
oh,
yeah.
wow.
So Diplo was like, this guy calls us and says, "Hey, Diplo is looking for you guys because he's been here for like 2 weeks looking for you guys. He didn't find you, but he's at the airport right now. So you guys want to go to the airport?" And we were like, "Yeah, we have no means to go there." This guy was like, "Okay, I can drive you there." And then this guy drives us to the airport. We meet Diplo. Diplo is like, "Yo, guys, I really love your music. I heard it on MySpace. I want to sign you guys. I want you guys to be on my label. I'm opening a label, and I want you guys to be the first artist." And then we were like, "Okay, cool. Send us a contract. Let's see the contract." Because at that time we could read, you know, we like, we want to see the contract. And then anyway, he says he'll send, because he's been looking for us, and now his flight is about to leave. You know, he's like, he'll send another guy next week that works for him. And then that's what
Mm.
he did. He sent a guy called Knox Robinson, and Knox landed here, and we never spoke about the contract. We just hung out, because Knox had money. So this guy gave Knox money to spend on us, and just, you know, I don't know. So, so we went to the Northwest. We were showing Knox around. And then on the last day, Knox is supposed to leave. And Knox is like, uh, "Hey, guys, I don't." So we were like, "We need to hook up transport for you to go." And Knox is like, "No, no, no, guys, I'm not going anywhere. I'm enjoying South Africa. This is cool." Um, and then you were like, "Okay, now, since you're not leaving, then where's the contract? Like, what's going on with that guy?" He's like, "Yo, I'm just gonna call the guy and tell him I quit. You know, I just want to be with you guys." And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "What are you gonna do with us?" He's like, "Guys, I think we should figure it out ourselves." And at that time, he was the editor of Fader magazine.
Oh, tell
Yeah,
people what Fader is.
exactly. So he was the editor of Fader magazine. He was like, "Guys, I'll talk to Fader. We'll start your career there. We'll just shoot we'll shoot a cover for Fader. Actually, we'll shoot for Fader, not even the cover, and then see where it gets us. And then Fader sent Andrew Dusomu and Mobalaji down to South Africa to shoot this magazine. And then they shot, and then Fader was like, we actually gonna do the cover. And then they did the cover. After the cover, Fader was gonna have a party in New York at the knitting factory, and they were like, oh, but last time we had Mos Def on the cover, he performed at the knitting factory at our party. So now that Blackjacks, we have another artist on the cover, maybe they need to perform there. And they invited us to come perform, and we were cool. And then Knox left. When Knox left, now we have to apply for visas. And that's when another struggle happened. You know, like we've never struggled for all those years. The struggle started. Like we looked to apply for a visa. It was hectic. The embassy was here in Rosebank, in Kilani, opposite Kilani Mall. We went there and they were like, yo, guys, you can't bring your forms here. You need to apply online and send the form, submit the forms, and then you need to bring so basically, long story short, we went like 6 times, like not having the right things. And then the 7th time when we went, we were cool, and then they're like, okay, they'll call us, they'll send us messages that we got the visa. As soon as we went out, they called us back. They were like, yo, guys, we just Googled you guys. You guys are everywhere in the internet. We were like, what? They're like, in America, people are talking about you. You're gonna go to South by Southwest, Texas. We don't even know. You're gonna perform there. You're gonna perform at the what? And I was like, and then they were like, we're canceling this application. You're not getting it at all. And we had just paid, you know? And then, anyway, long story short, we applied again for a different visa, and then we got it. And then, but now the thing is that we got it on the day we're supposed to be leaving. So now, and you know, the old way was the visas, your passports are supposed to be fetched by DHL, and DHL is supposed to take them to the DHL office. And then at the DHL office, they need to send out vans if they need to figure out who's going to Soweto side, who's going to Spruitview side, who's going to Pretoria side. And then, you know what I did? I just went outside the gate and waited for the DHL van. When it got the passport, I followed it to the DHL offices. And then I asked the guy, paid him $100. I was like, yo, my man, can I have 4 passports? You know, and I told him the names of the guys with the passports. And now we're rushing to the airport. When I call him Bumi, who's my band member, he's like, yo, we are late. We need 2,000 to secure the next flight. And then now we don't have 2,000. And then now Bumi calls his uncle, hey, uncle, can I have 2,000 to pay? Bumi got the 2,000. And now I'm driving the car to the airport. It's my mother's car. I forgot about my mother. I was supposed to fetch my mother and go to the airport. Now I'm in the and then I was like, I called my mother. My mother understood. And then I got to the airport, left the car, wherever, rushed inside, and then we got in. And it was a one-way flight, which was, I mean, I'm glad that it was a one-way flight because we were young. We didn't know anything. Because now flights connect a lot. So at least we, you know, one way. It was about 20 hours or 19 hours or some shit like that. Excuse my French. So now nobody spoke on the flight because we had struggled so much trying to do this music thing. And we still didn't believe that anything will happen. We had struggled. So I think that's why you are not prepared when something happens, you know, because after the struggle, it's just from the struggle and from then on, it's like just upwards. So we only spoke when we landed because when we landed, it's like yeah, we are here. Nothing can happen. They can't say you can't go because we're here already. So as soon as it landed, we were like, guys, we made it. We're here. And then when we got there, that's when our life that we were not prepared for started. They fetched us in a hectic car, Escalade, whatever, and we went straight to Bono had a label at the time. I don't remember the name of the label, and we went to his shop to get clothes, and from then on we went to Puma. Went to Puma shops. They opened the shop, they closed the shop for us to shop, and then get there. From then on, we go for dinner in New York, and then from then on is the show. When we do the show, from the show, it's party, party, party. And then we have to go to Texas. We're in a bus, a tour bus that has beds and everything. We go there. Our posters in the whole city of Texas is everywhere. Blackjacks, the cover of Fader. We just everywhere. People are asking us, do you need a bathroom? Do you need this? Do you need new shoes? Do you need, we go to the Levi's, we get jeans, we go to G-Star.
And you're not paying, right?
You're not paying. Everybody wants to give you everything. Everybody wants to get you lunch. Everybody wants to give you a bottle of, I don't know, whatever, Jack Daniels. Everybody wants a piece of you. And that's, I think, the problem becomes there because you didn't even expect, and I expect my music to just be heard and go there. And then you get all these other things that go with that music thing, and you didn't even know how good you are because now they write reviews. You see the review the next day. You perform today, the review, they're like the drama. Tshepang Ramoba is like a super drama, or whatever. So it's like, luckily with me, it didn't get into my head like that. It was like, I didn't want to hear that. Yeah, I didn't want to hear that. But I just wanted to enjoy life because life was just good at that time. Like, it was just like from where you have people, you don't even have to do anything. When you need water, somebody's going to get you water. Somebody's going to get you food. Somebody's going to get you something. You don't even have to do anything. All you need to do is go where you want to go. So, and it was amazing. And then we went back to New York, and long story short, when we came the second time to South by Southwest, we were now like serious artists now. We were doing all these TV interviews. We were only playing on TV stations. We do tours for interviews. We play in radio stations and on the TV, and other artists know you like touring now. You have everything. And that year, Billboard voted me best musician at South by Southwest, and that's also something that those things. And actually, your courses are the things that made me accept and celebrate that, because I never accepted that. I was just like, no, there's no way. You get what I mean? I was like, there's no way. I remember there was a time when I went to a show, The Roots was playing, and the manager said, Questlove saw you and he'd like you to jump on stage and play. And well, I made excuses until I went on stage and played with The Roots. And apparently I didn't know Questlove had written an article on New York Times saying, put me on his top 5 best drummers in the world.
Wow.
And then I played, and then the next day I'm on the cover of New York Times with him exchanging the drums. And still, that went over my head. I only realized those things when I was like older. I was like, damn, like actually I went through that. And sometimes it's a good thing, because when people go through that, it goes over their head and then they start becoming a certain type of person, but now I've learned to appreciate and to celebrate myself. And I was on a podcast with one of your, I don't know if it's a person that did your course, one of your students.
She's also a mathematics student, but she was also in my mastermind, Pavalo Rampa. Yes.
Pavalo still tells me that almost every day. Like, you need to clap for yourself,
Yeah.
So I think you are not prepared for all these things. You are not prepared, and you roll on pilot, because I was on pilot like most of those days. I mean, I still do tours now, and the tour looks like a tour. It looks like something. It's big. It's back in the days, it was just something that goes through. It just happens. Now, it's you don't.
I think wow, Tshepang, sorry to interrupt. I'm just like, it's a very intense experience, right? You just described 8 years of struggle, and most of us know the artist struggle, right? Even if you're not an artist, I mean, I'm a writer. I know the thing. I started off wanting to be a writer, and then like thought I was never gonna do it, dumped it, try to get a job. Long story short, if you're gonna do a thing, you're gonna end up doing it, right?
Yeah.
But it is very, very real. There are days when you're like really, really scared because you don't know where food is going to come from, how you're going to pay for rent, all that. But you did it for 8 years. I remember like 3 years of my life, and it was the scariest freaking 3 years. So I can imagine what happened to your nervous system. And I'm just wondering, now as you've been doing the work, what is your understanding of trauma? Like when you look at your life before, how do you think that impacted your ability to hold on to money? The struggle, coming from struggle, how did it impact your ability to be able to hold on to money? And I think what you described with you have money, you go to the bar, you don't need anything, but you have to spend this money. How do you think that's linked to that era of struggling and then coming into all this money?
I think because actually our advantage as a band was we were all from like middle class like families. We were fairly okay. When we go home, there's everything.
Yeah.
But now, when you are in your 20s or when you are 20, like you can't always be like mommy, mommy, mommy. So the struggle, also seeing some of your friends, like at 23, people have done with school, they are already working. So now you have your friends that are already driving these fancy cars, and they working. Others that didn't even go to school, maybe they work for. Remember when working for the call center started? Those days it was a big thing. It was a big deal, and all these friends are like cool. So going to the parties, we used to struggle going to the parties with them because we don't have like the money to go. We don't have the money for the drinks. We have, so they always, like, I was aware that they always, like when we come, they always be like, hey guys, these guys are here, So that thing of thinking that people are like, they get stressed when they see you, because you don't work. And they also start trying to advise you, hey, my man, there's like an open an open slot at work. I can, I can speak to my boss, come. Even my family, they're like, hey, my man, your cousin is a manager there at whatever home. My family was working at home. There's a shop called At Home, right? So they were all working there, and they were like, "Yo, Tshepang, man, we have your position is there. You have to come work." But I really didn't want that, and that thing also, that struggle is it's subconscious. That's the biggest thing, and the thing that this thing is subconscious. The trauma is abstract. No, you can't touch it. You can't see it. You are not aware of it. It takes a lot for you to be aware. It takes a lot for it to come up as well, and it might come up in certain ways that you don't know. So now I think subconsciously it was there and I didn't realize it. And because of my friends were stressed of me, of them having to buy me drinks when we go to the party, I was just like, now I can buy, probably all the bottles on the counter. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's how that trauma turned into me trying to get that thing for myself, trying to go to that party myself. Saying there's a party. I mean, it's unnecessary. I can't say there's a party in Cape Town in like 4 hours. Let's go there now and buy everybody flights and now we're going to the party. It's because some people used to put me in their car to go to the party and I don't have drinks there. They buy you drinks, or maybe you have $100 that you were given from by your mother 2 weeks ago and you can just buy 3 drinks and then that's it. And then your friend has to help you. So now nobody has to help me now. I have it all. So you overuse it now because the trauma is intense. The trauma is, and it's sleeping inside there. You don't know it. You don't see it. You are not even close to it. So it's dangerous actually. Trauma is a real thing, it's a real thing and it hides very far.
Yeah, what you've just described, I think it's very, very real. And also, it's a cultural thing with us at times, right? So and so has helped me. And sometimes there can be a little bit of guilt, a little bit of shame, a little bit of like super gratitude. I need to 10x it. I think I still walk around with something in my head that like, oh, this person has done this for me. Like I need to one day pay them back because when you're at your lowest, those people that show up for you, it's absolutely, absolutely intense. It's actually very, very interesting. But so, how do you discuss money now, especially in your relationships and your friendships, as you've gone through the deep work of unearthing trauma? How do you now relationship with people around money, friends and family? And friends, I know for you was a very, very big thing because again, there was that gratitude factor. These people stood by me when I didn't have anything. And I think that is so critical, guys. Like, you want to appreciate people, but you don't also want to go flights for everyone in Cape Town in 4 hours because someone used to drive me to the party,
Yeah. I mean, right now I have a thing. When you learn something, another thing creeps up, So I have learned to live my life and have my relationship with money. And I don't have to, I can help a friend, yes. I'm not saying I can't help a friend when they're in need. But here's the thing that I started. When a friend is in, is in need. For instance, there was a guitarist who I needed a guitarist at that time, and there was a guitarist who was struggling and who didn't have a place to stay. And we found a place for him, and I had said he should come perform or just work with me, and I'll pay his rent. And then he'll just hustle money for, for food and for stuff like that. And then that's what happened. And it's not like he came every day to come work, no. Sometimes he'd come like once, once a month, but I'll still pay his rent, but he would work. And um, every time I needed him, he would come and do the work, play guitar, and I'd pay the rent. And I think this was a big test, Vangile, because it was a lesson. And this is when I was growing spiritually, things used to happen to me, things that I didn't believe could happen to me, like dreaming of something I'm supposed to do. So that was a big lesson because that guy was super rich. His father is some ambassador. When they fetched him here, they fetched him in a convoy. He wasn't really poor. He just left his home because he wanted to be a musician, and he wanted to do his own thing because his family has been always like super rich. So he wanted to come out of that, So it was a big test. And then that's what I started doing. When a friend is like, yo, Tshepang, I've got this problem. I haven't had work. My camera was stolen. So now even when they call me, I can't go because I don't have a camera. I say, well, look, man, I have a camera, a very good camera that was given by Canon. You can take the camera, you can take videos of me working, performances, whatever, and you can use the camera when they book you too. And then some job paying, when I get paying jobs, when we go and perform and you shoot, I'll pay you. And that's how I started doing it. And even now, I still do that, but I've also realized that the big lesson is once you start doing something, just be careful that for doing it over, because as I told you, my purpose in life is being a healer, to help people. So I've realized that when I have a project and I get the funds to do the project, I actually just try to find all these musicians that are struggling and try to put them in that project, even if it's like over flooded by artists, so that I'll be able to pay them so that, they are not stressed. So I still have that. I still have that. It's not easy for it to just go away like that. You have to do the work. So I did the work, and it took me to that level of, okay, guys, maybe we need to work for this money. Come. So now my mistake was, come guys, come work. Even the companies that fund me, when I do my report, they ask me, Tshepang, like, how can you try to pay all these people, and you just paid yourself like less than 2% of the funds, and you called so many artists. Like my last project, post digital concert, I called like so many artists, like more than 20, and I still had videographers, and I still have, and I want to pay all these people so that Babe Sharp, so it's the thing that I'm working on now. My latest project, I'm working with only one person. So, just to practice me, practice doing things properly as a business as well, because you need to also think of the business. You need to feed the business. The business can't just always be working, but it needs to also work for itself when it's not working, when there's no work. So yeah, I'm learning that. So money, relationships, even my relationship at home with money, I talk to my wife a lot about money. We speak a lot. It seems like she's from a cool family, like a well-off family. So she doesn't talk much about money. It's like she's she's like my mother, where she's just used to being given everything. So I'm the one that talks about it a lot, that, hey, we have this much and we're going to need this much. And, even when there's no need to talk about money, I talk about it, that, hey, by the way, there's this much. And, so yeah, I as I said, I've learned a lot to have the relationship with money, and my relationship with other people is better now because of my relationship with money. Because now I used to have crazy relationships where people come to me, and my place, I don't know if you're aware that my place at Maboning, I never used to have a key. Just people used to go there anytime they want, and there'd be open the fridge, there's alcohol all the time. I'll get there and find people and join them in the party. So and then when the alcohol finishes and then I don't want to buy alcohol, they leave, So I've realized that when you don't have a good relationship with money and just using your money, however, your relationships are also like, shaky. They're very bad because people are just with you because of the money. So now, I'm really cool. I'm in a very cool space. And actually, one of the things that made me, one of the things that the courses with you, because I had taken the second one as well. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. So one of the things that helped me was also to be very inquisitive and keep on learning. Because the first time I did the course with you was the first time I had learned anything in a while, anything that I purposely go to learn or study, or So after that, I started, doing that a lot, like reading books that teach me something, or taking courses or workshops, or and started being inquisitive so that I can grow my business or grow my relationship with money. Yeah.
So guys, I started off with the bank account challenge, teaching people the bank account challenge, and then the second course is the Money Magic course. Right? But wow, Tshepang, I think you just described the vow of service perfectly. And I now understand why when you picked the vow of service podcast, you messaged me, you were like, that hit me really, really hard. Because you hear podcasts everybody else does, right? So some podcast guys, Tshepang will message and be like, yeah, this is the one. So when he listened to the vow service, it made sense because that is a vow service. It's like with the vow service, you do more for others than you do for yourself. And it's a hard thing because you will take just a small, like literally, sometimes you work for free because you're just like, as long as others get, it's all about the work itself, and it becomes because you're in service to the work. And I've explained that in depth in the vow service episode, guys. So you can go check it out. I can't remember what episode number it is, but in that we work so hard. We work, but we usually don't make a lot of money. Not sometimes it's not even because we're not even being paid a lot. It's that you can be paid, but you end up giving everybody else that works for you the money, and you don't know how to prioritize yourself. And the vow service is really that sneaky. But sometimes it's all about getting rid of money so that you don't make an income and you don't keep any for yourself. And the journey is pretty interesting. So Tshepang, before we wrap up, I am going to ask, I know you've shared a little about your tangible shifts, but I want to work on tangible shifts around debt, expenses, and income. As you've been doing the inner work, you've shared some of the inner work that you've done with me and like some of the aha moments that you've gotten. what have you seen? I know you started the studio, you've done other things, but what are some of the tangible shifts that have come from doing the inner work and doing the work
Yeah,
and
I
the
mean,
meditation?
I think there's a time when we did. I don't know if it was official or if it was you were just helping me, where we were just trying to work with closing my debts. Um, so slowly but surely, and we were doing it step by step. So I think you were just helping me at that time. So what happened was, when I get this money, I'll tell you, and then you're like, okay, 80% take it to, what do you need to do? I need to do this and this and this. Okay, I think maybe you need to add 10% to that debt, 15% to that debt because it's a lot, and maybe you can 40% to that. And that helped me a lot because, and I think we were discussing how re, how re, relieving how relieved you are when you are out of debt. And at that time I was working on and it's not a long time ago really, I was working on finishing my debt with ABSA and my other debt with my credit card. And I got lucky during the time where I got like a lump sum of money, and I used actually 90% of that money to pay my debts, and later on to finish my credit card, and then I finished the debts. So there was a big shift, because also I've learned that it's not bad to get debt for something that you want to get for more money, right? I mean, like buying an apartment through the bank, for instance. So if something happens and then you lose the work that you were doing that helps you pay, or that if you lose tenants or whatever, or if the rates, which is what I had experienced lately, where rates and taxes go up and they are so ridiculous that even when you have a tenant, you still have to pay some money towards the apartment. So when those things come up, you just make sure that you are not in debt, or when you are in debt, like you make sure that in every income that you get, there's a little bit that you take to the debt, because also the company that you owe, like they can see that you're serious about paying. It's not like you don't want to, pay, because the day they'll take you to court, it'll be stressful, and also you won't be able to work on other things to pay the debt because now you are stressed. Um, yeah, so that's one of the biggest shifts that I've seen, because I didn't really care about debt. Like if I have debt, I'm like, well, I don't have money, so they'll just have to wait. So, and not realizing that that can be a habit. You can keep that habit, and spiritually you are creating something, you are creating a new trauma for yourself. And so yeah, those are one of the biggest shifts. And another shift is the budgeting thing, because it seems like that's why I had hired a lot of people, because I put them in the budget. So so budgeting had helped me. Budgeting with you actually helped me be good at budgeting for my projects, because I'm really, these days I like doing projects. I mean, this year I've already done 2 projects already. And when a certain organization gives you money, especially a lot of money, and then you have to really, really get into budgeting, or else you have to call like an accountant or somebody. So the budgeting is intense in that kind of environment. So I learned it. Yeah, actually, that's my biggest number one shift, the budgeting, because even if you have like a little bit of money, and you know that your your money is not enough for everything that you have to pay for. I've seen that some people run away from it or shy away from it because, it's gonna remind them that, hey son, like I'm not gonna be able to pay for this, or So with me, I used to be like that too, So I know that, wow, even if I get $500 right now and I have to do so many things, let me budget, because what if I spend this $500 and then forget that I needed to pay just $300 for my daughter's swimming lessons, So I budget. I'm like, okay, this $200, I need to go to work, so I'll pour 150 petrol, and then take $300 and take it to my kids, and then take whatever and buy bread and milk. Like that's as simple as that. So I didn't budget at all. Like I never used to budget. Yeah, I just spend the money and that's it. Yeah, because I used to be a money. Is it a money? What's a spender?
Oh, so Tshepang knows a bunch of money archetypes that I'm also working on.
Yeah.
What is it? Not a money glutton. So
I'm definitely not a limit. Yeah.
yes, you're a money bulimic. So, guys, there's a whole project, a book that is yet to come out that is linked to money and food and our relationship with food and how like it interacts. It hasn't come out yet. I've been working on it and it will eventually come out. Worry not. So Tshepang knows the behind the scenes. So some people now understand the family archetypes that I'm working on. These ones, the archetypes that are based off of our relationship with food, and it's more tied to food culture and archetypes. There's a whole theory that I have around like how we relationship with food is similar to our relationship with money, but I will not go into that ever. But it's a very, very cool project. So what happened is my family and friends started giving themselves the names because they're very, very accurate. So money bulimic, the money comes in, it comes out. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. So what else was I going to say? Yes, and I think Tshepang, the big thing why people get scared to budget is because of the old way that people have been taught about budgeting, right? It's income less expenses, oh my gosh, and then you're spending on quote unquote the things that are important, and then you have nothing left for yourself, right? And I think the way that we're budgeting is what are your core values so that the things that you are spending on are things that align with your core values and the vision that you have for your life. So it doesn't, so you actually want to pay for those things, you know, you want to pay for your daughter's swimming lesson. You want to pay for the things that you have on your budget because they are in alignment with your value system and your vision for your life. Whereas I think a lot of people are told that this is what you need to spend money on. You know, you can't have, and it's so rigid and it feels very hectic on the nervous system, which is why I think a lot of us run from that work. But also don't forget that you've done work. You've been telling us about meditations. You've been meditating. You've been learning to regulate your nervous system. So now when you budget, it doesn't have that same, your nervous system is not having that same intense response. You've been going into those memories of your past. I know we worked a lot on the memories of you being in the US and feeling into the body so that it doesn't, there's none of that charge and that, oh, this is how I used money. Because sometimes we blame ourselves for the way we used money. And so when we look at the budget, it brings up that because, oh, just have so much money and now I'm here. So that all comes into play. And I'm so happy for you that you are budgeting and that you're thinking about this. So my second last question to you is, do you want to share with us 3 lessons about money that have now profoundly impacted you and just impacted your understanding of your relationship with money? You've given us so much already.
Yeah. I think the most important one for me is the attraction of money. Attracting money, because now when you want money to come to you, you need to attract it. Obviously, you need to do work into attracting the money. So I'm still like into my tapping. I really like tapping because it feels comfortable with me. It feels like something that I can do even though I'm tired, and I can see and feel the shift. And I like meditating as well, because meditating actually helps me with anxiety, especially the anxiety of having a lot of money in the bank account. If I get paid a lot of money in the bank account, I get anxious. So I used to also I used to struggle with that. When I get a lot of money, I become busy. Like my mind is busy, my life is busy, everything is busy. So meditation helps me with that. So that's my second lesson, by the way. So meditating does a lot has it does a lot that has to do with money, because I do different types of meditation. I still do the inner child, um, uh, the bank challenges and all that. I do that because of my relationship with money. When I meditate, the things that I have that I don't know of, they kind of they come up. They come up. If I do the inner child meditation, there are things that are still there, that are still stuck there, that I don't know of. So sometimes I just go to a place where I had forgotten, maybe in the past when I was doing the meditation. And then it just comes up to the surface. And then what do? I work on it. All right. And then my third one is the one that I spoke about, which is the budget. Budget is important, because I also did a little course the other day with CEDA, small enterprise something, small business. Yeah. So they were telling me about budgets, budgeting. So it's always budget. And budget helps your business. Budget is amazing. And I would like to talk about another one, which is celebrating yourself, or like giving yourself money. I don't know, what do we call it, Vangile? I don't know. Celebrating, like, because sometimes when I do something really good, I do something for myself, even if it's a small thing, buy myself a gift, or yeah, I seem to know that works, because it's like the universe sees that, oh, you really liked it, so we have to some more. You really like being in that situation, like maybe applied for something and then I got it. I'm so happy. I get myself a shot of whiskey or something, whatever. Yeah, I play a game, or I don't know. Yeah. So it seems like the universe realizes that, oh, this guy likes these things, and then they come more. Because, I apply for things and then they come and then they get accepted. So the reason why they get accepted is because the universe realized that, this guy really likes the stuff. Yeah.
I think it's also what it is like giving it's expanding capacity in our nervous system. So this is a very interesting one, because people listen to my podcast, they listen to me online, and then they try to do the same things that, like, my clients on the podcast come to do, and they like, but I just wasted money and I lost money. right? And I'm just like, but it's also about the nervous system work that you do. Some of us are celebrating, and it's not really celebrating. What it is when the money comes and the opportunities come, we're actually in self-sabotage mode. We are literally spending money as soon as it comes out because it doesn't feel safe in our nervous systems. There's a difference between celebrating, letting the money sit in your account, and just working on safety in the nervous system, as opposed to, oh yes, I'm celebrating, I want the universe to give me more. Meanwhile, you're responding from a space of deep unsafety, which you've actually shown us the contrast of that, right? In the past of doing that, and then now of doing it from a space of, yes, I'm so happy, from a space of safety. I've got my budget. I'm not going over budget. I'm not just going crazy. Because there are people that are like, oh, I got the project. I'm going to celebrate by getting myself a Mercedes. And then they're like, but why didn't it work? Now I'm broke. Because the money that
exactly
the Mercedes was the money for the project.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't, it's not even about the money. It's about, sometimes there's that thing that you love doing, but you don't have the time to do it. Like reading a book, or like hiking, or just jumping up and down and saying, yeah, so that it doesn't have to feel like you are spending money, or you have to do something deliberately, or you have to get yourself something. Maybe sometimes you just go to the gym because now, I don't know, you want to be fit. You can celebrate yourself for the whole week going to gym, Yeah, it's kind of that kind of thing, yeah.
No, I agree with you, Tshepang. So it's the same kind of concept. I think what you're sharing is that it's possible to celebrate without needing to spend lots of money and without having to drain the bank account. And I think that's so important, because fun and pleasure are such a critical part of money, and like nervous system capacity, like increasing the capacity to hold more in the nervous system. What we often do, especially when you come from a background of struggle, what we were taught is how to survive, right? It's like, don't spend money, don't do anything that is fun because you don't have any money right now. So like, everything is about survival, survival, survival. You don't buy yourself anything new. You don't go to a restaurant. You don't do anything because you don't have any money. You have to hold on to everything for dear life. But what that does to your nervous system is it's also like shrinking your capacity to hold more. So pleasure, especially as we're dealing the healing work, pleasure is also important. And as you mentioned, pleasure isn't about spending money. But so many of us don't even play. We don't go to the beach if you live in a beach town, which is free.
Yeah, which is free. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Go hiking, go for a walk in the park, watch the stars and the moon. Why? Because I'm working. I have to work. I have to work to make this happen.
Exactly.
But all it is does so much to your nervous system, and it shrinks it. So a lot of things around pleasure are actually they don't cost money. They, like a lot of things for the body, lying on the floor. So sometimes I have to remind myself, because we have a window where the sun shines in the afternoon, and I love sun, as you know. Like, so just lying on my yoga mat for like 15 minutes and allowing the sun to shine on me is like one of my favorite things. But like most times, like most people, again, free. Sunshine is free. I'm already in the apartment. That's free. My yoga mat exists. I don't have to spend anything. But then it's like, oh, I have to work. You don't have time for this. Put it to the side. You know, we don't prioritize pleasure, and it has an impact on our nervous system. So thank you for bringing that up. It does actually impact our income. So last question, Tshepang, people are listening to you, and I know up-and-coming musicians are listening to you. I know people want to start podcasts, they're listening to you. How do they get in touch with you? How do they work with you? Share your website details. How do people get hold of you and start to work with you?
Okay, I'm a a very easy person to get hold of. Anytime, any day. I have a website, is postpost.coza. So it's postpost.co.za. And on all my social media platforms, I am Tshepang Ramoba. Tshepang Ramoba, Ramoba. That's it. Everywhere I'm Tshepang Ramoba. And then my email address, tshepang@postpost.co.za. TSHEPANG at postpost, postpost.co.za. Simple. You send me a message. I'm always available. I'm always there. I respond to everybody. Yeah.
And guys, he's talking the truth. Tshepang responds to everybody. And just, yeah, he's great to work with. Honestly, super professional, super like on point with everything. Just like, I don't think we have ever struggled. If you see me sending out emails on a Wednesday, that's not Tshepang, that's just me, instead of a Tuesday. That is just me. It means I got caught up in other things. My team literally always does everything on time. My only thing is to press send on an email, and I somehow managed to botch it up on some weeks, and I'm sending it on a Wednesday instead of a Tuesday. But extremely grateful. So thank you so much, Tshepang. You've given us so much today.
Thank you, Vangile, for having me, because, me talking about this is also me reminding myself all the time and to do the work and keep on doing the work.
Yeah, definitely. And wow, guys, if you've listened to this, you're like, wow, this is interesting. I'm sure you've heard some of my clients. All my clients come from different walks of life. If you listen to the Money Magic podcast, so I work with different people. And yes, sometimes I work with really, really famous people as well, like Tshepang. And it's really, really cool because we all have our money stories, right? It's not about the fact that we don't know how to make money, some of us. It's because we make and sometimes the money can be very, very overwhelming. So if you want to work on healing ancestral trauma, getting out of debt and staying out of debt, increasing your savings, changing your spending habits, and also increasing your income so that you can actually build generational wealth, the Money Magic course is for you. The Money Magic course is all about building generational wealth. It's lifetime access for a reason, because this takes time, as Tshepang shared, right? If you have experienced years of struggle, it may take a little longer than someone who has no trauma, has never experienced deep moments of struggle around money, for your nervous system to recalibrate, right? And for your nervous system to regulate with money, which is why the Money Magic course is lifetime access. And with every up level comes new things. There are new things that you don't realize. So if you feel ready to start working on your relationship with money at a deeper level, join the Money Magic course. The link is in the bottom, is in the description at the bottom. By the way, Tshepang's contact details are also in the description of this. So if you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, whatever you're listening on, the links are in the description of this podcast. So check out the Money Magic course. You can go to wealthy-money.com/money magic. Again, wealthy-money.com/money magic. Again, it is all in the description. What I do is I have you get a coaching call with me. If you want to do a pre-discovery call, you're also welcome. I do discovery calls with people so that they can see if this is the thing for them, if they are ready for the course. So let's have a discovery call. And you also get 2 sessions a month with me, group coaching on Zoom. I call them fireside chats. We do meditations, we can do breath work. Sometimes it's just Q&A, we're just chilling. People don't want to do deeper work. We do EFT tapping, but the Money Magic course has all of those meditations. It's all of that tapping. Like Tshepang says, he can still go into certain meditations without me. You also get free access to the bank account course, the bank account challenge course, so you don't have to worry about paying for that. And you also get 2 coaching sessions with Numisa in the first month. So she teaches you to be within your body. She guides you through a meditation, looking at your bank account, being in your body, getting into your womb, sitting with it. And then you get access to it on WhatsApp as well, 24/7 for the first month, right? After that, you also have better understanding of your relationship with money, and you can do the work on your own as well. But again, lifetime access. So if you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I want to be able to have a community that I meet with, and I want access to group coaching at least twice a month where I can ask questions and I can be guided, then join us for the Money Magic course. I look forward to seeing you. And thank you again for listening to the podcast. If you are listening to this, though, and you like, I love this podcast so much, I'm learning so much, my friends and family can learn from this, please share it. Please share with your friends and family. Leave us a comment on YouTube, leave us a review on Spotify and iTunes. Yeah, just share away. And thank you once more. I'll see you guys in the next Money Magic podcast episode. Until next week, cheers.